to the day when I first started here as the athletic director, and it was a little overwhelming for me to think that my first AD job, I was going to have Howard Schnellenberger as my coach. I looked his bio up and saw that he was the offensive coordinator for Bear Bryant, winning national championships when I was born, and later saw the accolades of being the offensive coordinator for the 72 perfect season Miami Dolphins, being a head coach for the Baltimore Colts, of course leading the Miami Hurricanes to a national championship in '83 after taking over their program in 1979 when they were on the verge of going to 1AA or even dropping their program. And then of course his great career at Louisville, a quick stop in Oklahoma, and then starting the program here. So my first game with Howard, though, was at Middle Tennessee State. Was with a brand new president at the time, too. We went to the very first game with Coach Schnellenberger, and that was that first victory over the a 1A program when Roosevelt Bynes caught that Hail Mary pass from Jared Allen to come from behind on the last play of the game to win the game, which turned out, as you know, was one of the first records that was set by Howard of being the youngest team ever to win a 1AA game in its 23rd game of existence. Later on, he took us to 1A, took us to the Sun Belt Conference, took us to the conference championship, 2 bowl games, and the rest the history continues to be made. Not the least of which is to culminate with the opening of our brand new football stadium that he oversaw from the very first time he was hired back in 1998. And has stayed with this and stayed with the program and built it to where it is today. And one last thing I'll say is when people ask me about what it was like to work with Howard Schnellenberger, I wondered what it was going to be like too, because I knew his history and whatnot, and me being a young AD. But I got to say that he was one of the greatest people to work with, and still is, and will continue to be with the university. Never had a cross word with him. We never got in any arguments. When I tell people that, they say, "Really? That really was?" Because I guess maybe they might have thought it might have been a little bit more difficult. Because he is a hard charger. But the one thing I will say is the vision that I think his legacy in my mind is the vision that he's able to come in here and create and eventually bring to reality is something that's unmatched. He'll say things that people might scratch their head about in the beginning and think, "Really? Do you really think that's going to happen?" And then step by step things start falling into place, and then pretty soon the believers get on board, and as he likes to say, that upward spiral begins, and the rest is history. So I know I'm miss working with him, but I know he'll be with the university, and we'll hear a little bit more from him at that time. So just wanted to share a few remarks before I turn the time over now to MJ Saunders, our